I know that there is debate out there of whether we should be talking about climate change or not.
Come on. This is Front Street. Without a proper evacuation order, people in a desperate attempt to outrun the flames got into their cars and took to the road. But the fire quickly caught up, and you could see the desperation in how these cars are lined up. We're talking dozens as far as you can see.
Many tried to flee into the ocean, while Governor Joshua Green described the firestorm that swallowed Lahaina as a bomb going off. There was a very long fuse as the fire burned in brush for nearly 2 hours before exploding, spreading a mile a minute. The state attorney general announced an investigation into Maui County's response before, during, and after the disaster. And on Wednesday, CBS News learned the man in charge of activating the sirens intentionally did not.
Do you regret not sounding the sirens?
I do not. And the reason why, and
So many people said they could have been saved if they had time to escape. Had a siren gone off, they would have known that there was a crisis emerging.
the sirens, as I had mentioned earlier, is used primarily for tsunamis.
The explanation given by Herman Andaya, head of the Maui Emergency Management Agency, was defended by the mayor and governor until survivors and the world weighed in.
Do you think had those sirens gone off, it could have saved lives?
Absolutely. I don't think I know.
There is mounting anger as more questions go unanswered. Did downed power lines cause the blaze? And why weren't they deactivated? Also, why did it take up to 3 days for help to arrive after the fire?
There's an airport right up the road. Why isn't that being used? There's an ocean front 20 feet from our lobby. Why are we not using that?
In what is now the deadliest wildfire in modern American history, but demands for more accountability.
There are going to be people that are lost forever. What? And right now we're working obviously with the FBI. And
large number of the dead may have actually been children who were left home that day because schools were closed, many of them alone. We've been discussing, there are now a lot of questions about all of the policies and procedures. The National Weather Service had issued a fire watch for your state August 6th, a few days before the fire hit. With the siren system, you said to CNN on Monday and again on Tuesday that you believe some of the sirens were broken.
what?
When did you learn they weren't fully functional?
I wish all the sirens went off. The challenge that you've heard, and it's not to excuse or explain anything, the challenge has been that historically those sirens are used for tsunamis. I know that there is debate out there of whether we should be talking about climate change or not.
Yeah.
Well, let's be real, world. Climate change is here. We are in the midst of it with a hotter planet and fiercer storms. And you asked the question, I'm coming back to it right now. Do I wish those sirens went off? Of course I do. And I think that the answer that the emergency administrator from Maui, who's resigned, said was, of course, utterly unsatisfactory to the world. We've had multiple small fires, some on Oahu, some on Big Island, of course, more on Maui, even in the days since the fire. And the firefighters, I want to thank them. They've been heroic in this period of time.
Mm-hmm. There has been scrutiny of the largest utility, Hawaiian Electric, because there were images, I know you know this, of power lines possibly starting fires. Last year, that company had proposed an upgrade of the grid with Lahaina as a priority area and suggested a rate hike to do that. Do you know why that didn't happen and if that contributed?
Come on.
I don't know personally whether or not the power lines were the primary reason the fire occurred. It's not to excuse anything else from any company. It's just to explain what the world should prepare for.
Just to be clear, when you're talking about global warming, are you saying that climate change amplified the cost of human error?
Yes, it did. What happened, I'm told by some of the survivors, they were at the initial fire. It was put out sometime late in the afternoon in Lahaina. And then the firefighters had to go to 3 other fires that had started because of the conditions. When they left, the fire stirred up again. And then when the storm winds from Dora, which were that strong, swept it out, it just destroyed everything. I know that there is debate out there of whether we should be talking about climate change or not.